what mood you are in is your choice. You can decide to be in a good mood, bad mood, nasty mood, bitchy mood, whatever you want. But I always believe in being in a good mood and joyful. It's my choice. Gratitude as a gift of life, to believe in it, that you're thankful for everything which is happening. But two things which help me achieve that goal is gratitude and forgiveness. And I learned it from a friend of mine. Her name is Betty Edwards, and actually from her book, Drawing on the Right Side of the Brain.
So, everybody, if you haven't clued in yet, we're going to be talking about mood today, which is from the Health Score for Happiness. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Professor Joy podcast. Stephanie.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm great.
Good. And the man who started this all decades ago from our world headquarters in Southern California, Professor Joy. How are you?
Thank you, sir.
Professor Joy, may I start with a question?
Yes, sir.
Are you in a good mood today?
I need to explain to you about my moods.
Okay, please do.
Every day when I wake up in the morning, I make a decision to be in the good mood all day long. And I feel like the only way I can maintain a good mood is I jump in the sandbox as soon as I wake up. And I stay in the sandbox, play all day long till I go to bed again. So my awake hours are in the sandbox. My mood is good, I'm having fun, and I'm enjoying life.
Now, is sandbox a metaphor for something?
Yeah. It's something I step into as soon as I wake up. And I stay in the sandbox, meaning good mood, all day long.
Do you have a daily affirmation before you step into the sandbox?
Yes.
Okay. Stephanie, do you step into the sandbox every day?
No.
Are you in a good mood today?
Oh, I am always in a good mood.
Are you?
Yeah.
Is that just because you're in the presence of two brilliant people?
It is. Sundays always make my week the best. So.
Aw.
if and it took me a while to learn this, but two things which helped me achieve that goal is gratitude and forgiveness. So meaning I believe in gratitude as a gift of life, to believe in it, that you're thankful for everything which is happening. And it's so funny. This morning I sat down and at the coffee shop and started making notes. And I said, I remember years ago when I went to Harvard Business School, I rated myself based on everything I have accomplished, like top 0.1% of this population of this country. And I said, you got to be higher than that. I got to be 0.01% because everything in my life is so beautiful. I can't believe it. And I don't know how I achieved it because I don't think I deserve it.
Yes, you do.
You think so?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, thank you so much.
I do.
I appreciate that.
So, everybody, if you haven't clued in yet, we're going to be talking about mood today, which is from the Health Score for Happiness book, part of our trilogy that we have that's available online. And everything is available online for us for Joy Score, our app. Stephanie does our social media. So there are many, many ways you can stay in touch with us.
Can I just say one thing about it before?
Absolutely. I would love
Which
for
is
you.
that what mood you are in is your choice. You can decide to be in a good mood, bad mood, nasty mood, bitchy mood, whatever you want. But I always believe in being in a good mood and joyful. It's my choice.
That is exactly right. It is. It's
And,
everybody's
and I
choice.
learned it from a friend of mine. Her name is Betty Edwards, and actually from her book, uh, Drawing on the Right Side of the Brain, where I learned that if you stay connected with your right brain, you're going to most likely be joyful and creative. So that's my life.
Before we get into the discussion of mood, I have been, this piece of paper right here, Professor Joy, I have been dying to talk to you about this.
Okay.
And it's something that was in the news earlier this week. And it involves you also, Stephanie.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Australia has barred everyone under 16 from social media.
I heard about that.
Will it work?
Have they really?
Yeah, they did.
So, Professor Joy, this was from the New York Times. Australia has imposed a sweeping ban on social media for children under 16, one of the world's most comprehensive measures aimed at safeguarding young people from potential hazards online. But many details are unclear, such as how it will be enforced and what platforms will be covered.
I wasn't aware of this, and I am very pleasantly surprised and actually shocked at the same time. How could a country do that?
Exactly. I mean, it passed both houses of parliament.
So it did go through the process of.
It did.
Okay.
It did indeed. Professor Joy, the law puts the onus on social media platforms to take reasonable steps to prevent anyone under 16 from having an account. Now, how the heck are they going to?
Yeah.
Right,
Because you can
Stephanie?
just type in a different birthday when you sign up.
You know what it's going to do? It's going to hurt my friend,
Yes.
Zuckerberg.
Yes.
It's going to fuck him up.
Yes. So, and I'm so glad you said that because this story says that corporations could be fined up to 49.5 million Australian dollars, which is 32 million to us,
US.
for systemic failure to implement age requirements.
For every day. Every day they ignore it, they should
going
be
to be
fined
fined.
that much.
Right.
I think it should be per day.
Per day. Neither underage users nor their parents will face punishment. So it's all on the corporations. And whether children find ways to get past the restrictions is beside the point. This from the Prime Minister, Professor Joy. We know some kids will find workarounds, but we're sending a message to social media companies to clean up their act.
So that actually includes us, doesn't it? Toy Story.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I don't think we have anything that's questionable.
Well, we are part of social media.
Yes, we are.
So, meaning, if we. I mean, the question is how many people under 16 really use JoyScore? And my suggestion would be that they should not. Till their age of 16. Because, you know, I may have talked about it and I don't want to repeat myself. Do you know what age a child's brain is developed?
7.
Huh?
7.
7. Okay? So before 7, they're still in development. At 7, they're kind of now in mature stage of their mind development. Now, from 7 to 16, which is 9 years, I think they're still in developmental and maturing stage. At 16, I would say now they have some sense of decision-making power. So 16, I think, is a good age, in my opinion, to allow kids to use social media.
If,
Before that, no.
if they learned what we did and how we approach social media, maybe we could get a pass and that would be a good business
Yes.
move.
You know, she's so smart, you know.
We should be so grateful to be around Steph.
Did you hear what she said?
I did.
I mean, there is a solution to that.
Yeah.
And this is an Australian girl.
Yes. Yes. Stephanie and Professor Joy, it's not clear exactly which platforms will be covered by the ban. The Prime Minister has said that Snapchat, TikTok, Instagram, and X will be included, but YouTube and messaging apps, including WhatsApp, are expected to be exempt.
What about Facebook?
Not mentioned here yet.
Okay.
I don't think that age group really uses Facebook.
Really?
That's a good point.
Yeah.
That's a
The
good point.
the the older people use Facebook.
Yes.
I heard that
The boomers,
Facebook
yeah.
is an older app, which young people don't use it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh.
very true.
Okay,
Very true.
makes sense.
Professor Joy, France last year passed a law requiring parental consent for social media users under 15. And that country has been pushing other EU countries to take similar measures. And Florida this year imposed a ban for users under 14 and required parental consent for 14 and 15-year-olds. But that law could face constitutional challenges.
See, 14, 15, 16 years of age, what I heard from you, in different places, different scenarios. So, what I come to realize that 14 to 16 years of age, they are kind of in a developmental stage. So I think it should be safe to say 16 is an absolute age to follow.
14, 15 are very impressionable.
Right.
They're very
16, I think, is it. And you know, now you kind of have been around to agree with me that the impact of what we see now is going to be seen in the next generation. You know, these things don't show up instantly.
Right.
What's happening with the kids today, you're going to see what kind of impact it had when they're 30, 40, and 50-year-old. So this is a generational challenge. It's not just like dealing with kids. This is the future. You know, when I started teaching and I became a professor on tenure track, I was told that you're going to be reviewed for 7 years before you're granted tenure. And you could not be promoted unless you have tenure. I said, what the hell is wrong with that? But when I went through it, I realized that tenured faculty has the responsibility of molding the intellect of the society. I mean, this is not a simple, just a tenure track position and tenure and professorship. This is a major responsibility because we mold how they think, and we could damage them if we don't know what we're doing.
Right. Very true. And you know, Professor Joy, you were talking about, you know, how these students, these children today, you know, how will they be in 20 and 30 years?
Yeah.
We don't even know what the impact of AI will be on them in 20 or 30 years either.
Well, now AI, in fact, I just this morning was reading an article, and I don't know which paper it was in. Because I read 3, so I sometimes forget which paper I read that was talking about that. No, it was the New York Times business section. And it was saying that a lot of things we do today or we study today won't be necessary anymore because of AI. That is shocking. Meaning some of the programs, the university programs, won't be necessary anymore.
But what if AI gets the information incorrect and they keep
Well,
spreading it?
So AI, if I can give you a little bit of a background, AI is based on information which exists. So AI is not a brain.
Right.
It's based on the information we have.
But if the information that's in there, somebody put in there and they happen to pick it up just because it's somebody's opinion.
Yeah,
not
but see,
fact.
it doesn't do that. It doesn't take somebody's opinion and guide itself based on that. It kind of has a way of researching the general area or a premise that it's dealing with. So it's not going to be just one person or a few people. It's going to be an overall opinion of the community.
Body of work.
So, in fact, I don't think I talked about it last week. This article in New York Times, where it talks about that the AI-driven bot is better than the actual doctor. Actual doctor. Meaning, if a doctor is saying X and your chatbot is saying Y, you might be better off believing the chatbot. Because the doctor, you really don't know when he went to school, how old he is, or how current his information is. But the chatbot is analyzing it daily, is most current. So meaning, in the future, the realistic answers would be given by AI, not the professionals. So in the field of architecture, let's say I'm a professor in design and architecture, if someone has an opinion on something, possibly that opinion is better than my opinion.
I don't believe that.
No, you don't.
I don't. No, I am sorry. I do not believe that because you have the real world experience.
That's true.
You've done all that.
Yeah.
AI hasn't done that.
Right, that's
they
true.
can't analyze
That's true.
what you know, what
That's
your years of experience have.
I agree.
And I never want to disagree with you, but I disagree with you.
Thank
that
you.
have the experience that AI can never have.
Right.
So I've totally got us off of mood. So I do want to get.
Where's the mood in all this?
I'm in a wonderful mood now. So, but we talk about food and mood, and if you're in a good mood, will you eat good food or will you eat bad food?
It could go either way.
Yeah.
It really could go either way.
Yeah. Because when people are in good mood, they like to party.
Yes.
And when I'm in good mood, the only thing I believe in at that time that I want good tasting food. But good tasting food can be good or bad. So you don't have to eat bad good tasting food. You can go for good tasting food.
And that's what we talk about in the chapter is, how to avoid the sugar crash.
Right.
As opposed to eating the healthy foods that you can eat, and they can be just as good for you and keep your spirits up and keep your mood up and elevate everything.
Food is a learned behavior. Meaning that my trainer, Marita, she talks about the kind of food she eats, and I find her food choices very boring, but they're good. She eats very healthy, but I could not live her food habit life. So I have fun, but again, I try to limit myself with that fun. Again, If I have to have a little bit of sugary food, I'm going to limit it to.
Right.
And I'm going to a little bit, because I don't diet. I don't believe in dieting.
Right. Yeah.
So,
No, no, I totally agree. One of the things that has come up in the first three chapters, and I'm sure that will come up again as we go through um, the book, is that maintaining a healthy gut is a key to mental well being
and good mood.
and good mood. Absolutely. Yeah, there are so many things that are related to gut health.
But,
Disorders.
you mentioned gut health. Let me just say one thing, which is important. Do you know where serotonin is made in the body?
In your brain, in
In
your
your
gut.
gut. So, uh, you may not know her, Anne Welty. She's one of our medical directors, Peter Welty's wife.
Okay.
She's a psychiatrist, and she's an amazingly well-positioned psychiatrist. And so when she signs up a new patient, the first thing she looks into is if they have a balanced microbiome by by providing them probiotics and things like that to make sure it's balanced. Because if it's out of whack, your gut would not produce serotonin. And if your body or your gut is not producing serotonin, you're screwed. Because that's the food you need for good mood and good brain.
Very much so. Very much so. So this was interesting, Professor Joy. I don't know if you saw this. This was from yesterday's
Yeah, I saw
Wall
that.
Street Journal,
Uh-huh.
with the headline being about how we battled big food. Can RFK Jr. succeed where we failed? And I think it's right in alignment with what we're talking about.
Absolutely.
With the quality of food and our mood. So he's talking about making America healthy again. So not MAGA, but MAHA, whatever, by tackling unhealthy foods and the big corporations behind them. This article was written by two doctors, by the way, and unhealthy foods now compete with smoking for the title of leading underlying killer in America, contributing to heart disease, stroke, diabetes, and cancer. Today, nearly half of Americans have high blood pressure. 3/4 are obese, which we've talked about, and 15% have type 2 diabetes. And the article says that clearly we take in way too much sugar and salt, as well as too much red meat, processed meat, and refined grains. We don't eat enough vegetables, fruit, whole grain, seafood, or potassium. The bottom line that these doctors say is that it is too easy for us to get these foods that aren't good for us. It's a food system that overwhelms us. How the foods today are designed, produced, sold, and marketed. Most foods stocked in American grocery stores don't grow from the ground. They are complex, ultra-processed products that are mass-produced in factories. That processing involves adding salt, sugar, and fat that humans are biologically programmed to like. So all of us find it difficult to resist these foods. In addition, unhealthy products like soda, chips, and cookies are cheap, and this is really interesting. They are placed in highly visible and easily reachable spots in groceries and other retail stores.
Now, I gotta ask something to Steffi. She has a 4-year-old. Chetan goes for junk food? He does.
He does, and then he won't try. Like we put it in front of him, he won't try any new fruits.
The industry is causing, I never thought of this, but I complain about fuckabug.
Yes.
What about all these industries who produce bad food
Yes.
and put it in front of kids, you know, and the kids watch TV and they see these ads. I say, I want that.
Yeah.
I want those chips.
And
Yeah. Or those sugary
Yeah,
cereals.
absolutely.
Responding to your earlier question, do you think food affects mood?
Absolutely.
Yeah, because if you take it away from them or don't give it to them, there's a tantrum. But I think it's coming from some of the dyes and additives that are affecting their mood. So.
You know, the food today, in fact, so interesting that you have compared bad food as big a threat as smoking. We never say it like that,
No.
which is so true. In fact, I would say that bad food is even worse than smoking because now where does the bad food come from? Let's say people eat bad food every day. What are the sources of the worst food out there? Is fast food, processed food. Now you go to the grocery store, most of the stuff on the shelf is all processed. You know,
It
in
doesn't
fact,
come from the ground.
yeah, it was a. In fact, I'm trying to recall Michael Moore's documentary on food.
Yes.
You know, after he produced the documentary, he had to research and learn about it. And so someone asked him, I said, Sir, has that made any change in your life? He said, Yeah, now I eat things called vegetables and fruits. He didn't even know them before. So the point there was that the food, as close as it can be to its origin, like vegetables, they're grown and they're shipped, and before they're processed, if you eat them, fruits, vegetables, grains, whatever, before they're processed, if you can have them, it's better than after processing, because processing started of food, I would say in 50s, 1950s, about 70 years ago. And that's about when diabetes started, you know, where it just took off. And I was reading an article which talks about that the cause of diabetes started in 50s when they started bleaching sugar and flour.
And flour, right.
So something it does to the food when you bleach the flour, bleach the sugar, it makes more prone to diabetes because the glycemic index changes. So I'm not a scientist, but I know enough to be able to tell that if the food is being consumed when it's closest to its origin, is the best before processing. Once you process it, it's garbage.
I have a personal question for you.
Yeah.
Was it harder to quit smoking, or was it harder to take on an eating healthily?
For me, they both came together like a package. Well, I don't know together, but what happened when I quit smoking, I started gaining weight. And my racquetball trainer was trying to train me. I said, hey, you got to get rid of this weight. I said, look, Brian, I just quit smoking, so I'd like to eat now. He said, I don't care. You're playing racquetball with 15 pounds of potatoes in each pocket. I said, shit, that doesn't sound good. I got to get rid of these potatoes. A couple of weeks ago, Marita asked me to hold 25-pound dumbbells in my hand.
Okay.
I just feel how much weight I used to carry with me. I could not believe how heavy these dumbbells were. So as I was carrying these 50 pounds weight around with me all the time, it's shocking.
Just think of the stress on your joints.
Absolutely, everything. Stress on your body. In fact, one of the articles I remember reading in the paper was that, you know, your body processes and does maybe hundreds of functions. Only one of them is digesting food. When you overeat, you put your body in uh, overdrive to digest that food, which it doesn't need to. And it has to give up a lot of other functions in the body to digest that stupid food.
Yeah.
So I kind of learned all that. I mean, I don't diet, I eat everything. I don't diet at all. Everything that I used to like, I still eat, but just not too much of it.
Right.
Just in appropriate proportions,
Yeah.
And that's my mantra,
Yeah.
So
I have one more anecdote for you
right.
Before we finish up. And once again, this was from a Wall Street Journal article, and it's something that we talked about last week, which is intermittent fasting.
Yeah.
Intermittent fasting works for weight loss, but not much else. And so one of the anecdotes in here was from a former competitive cyclist who lives in Austin, Texas. And he saw online about all these people talking about, intermittent fasting, things like that and everything. So last year, after cutting back on exercise and gaining some weight while his wife was pregnant, he decided to give it a try. And he started skipping breakfast. In his first month, this competitive cyclist, age 31, lost roughly 6 pounds, and exercise started feeling easier and more efficient. But then he started feeling weaker and more irritable and got several injuries in quick succession. The fixation he developed during his 6-month stint with intermittent fasting felt like an eating disorder. I was getting really snappy and a little bit angry with people, he said. He gave up the practice after his wife talked to him about his bad mood and concerning eating habits. I eat breakfast now, and I'm a better person for it.
When you started talking about it and you mentioned breakfast, now, I don't know enough about intermittent fasting, but what I've heard is breakfast is the most important meal of the day. So if you want to skip something, don't skip breakfast.
I agree.
Because that puts your body in the digestive mode and energy. Trying to think. Erin is the gal who trains at the gym.
Yes.
You know her?
I do very, very well.
So I used to run into her every morning at Starbucks. I'll be reading my paper and she'll come in to get coffee and we'll talk for just like a 30-second touch base. So one day I end up asking her, is it better to have breakfast or not? Or better to have something before I play racquetball or not? He said, you must have something before you play racquetball, because if you don't have it, then there's nothing to burn. I said, makes sense. So I started eating breakfast, and ever since I started feeling better. I mean, this goes back like 20 years now, because I really admire her with the kind of training she does and people she trains. And I just like her, and I just enjoyed the fact that she told me to start eating breakfast or eat something before I play racquetball.
Very true.
So I do that now.
And you want to know what?
Yeah.
You just put us all in a good mood.
Oh, beautiful. See?
We're all in a good mood. And we hope that you are in a good mood as well, everybody.
And go play in the sandbox all day.
Yes, and play in the sandbox. Absolutely. Absolutely. We hope you'll have a great week. Come back and join us next week for another episode of the Professor Joy Podcast.
How beautiful. Thank you.